Marriage and Family Theory Overview, the Gladding Ch Family History, Family Therapy, History, Theory, and Practice, Chapter 15, Professional Issues and Research in Family Therapy. Looking at page 368, professional issues pertain to ethics, law, and identity, our professional identity. The bottom standard is the law. If you fail to understand the legal code, you can find yourself in jail. The ethics code is the minimum standard for us. It's a written document that says if you fail to adhere to these requirements, you can no longer practice. You stand at risk of losing your license. Ethics can be much higher than that with moral, virtual, aspirational, practice, principle ethics. But having said that, looking at the book on page 368, ethics are moral principles from which individuals and social groups determine rules for right conduct of their members. Equitability, the proposition that everyone's entitled to have their welfare interests considered in a way that's fair from a multilateral perspective. This is a thought from Naj. Caring, the idea that moral development and principles are centered in the social context of relationship and interdependency. And ethics in family therapy should not be treated lightly or in a non-systemic manner. It is very important. It should permeate every part of what we do, and it should apply to each of our practices throughout every system. In your resources, there is a ethics decision-making model that you can avail yourself of. Ethics and value. Value is the ranking of an ordered set of choices from the most to the least preferable. Understanding the therapeutic process is influenced by the complexity of personal values, client-family values, theoretical values, influenced by the therapist's own cultural, contextual, environmental factors of age, marital status, gender, ethnic, religious, sociocultural background, and their values of their own families, the values connected to theories, processes, and outcomes that they embrace and practice from. Uninformed practitioners may deny the use of the importance of values, or that do not play a part of forming our ethics code. This is not the case. How do values influence ethical practice? We operate from our values. They undergird the ethical decisions that we make as individuals and as a profession. For our guidelines, you can look at the Code of Ethics. There's the MFT Code of Ethics. There's also the ACA Code of Ethics. One issue is how we are dealing with dual relationships. I would refer you to both the MFT Code of Ethics and the ACA Code of Ethics for 2014, also in your resources within your groups in the classroom. And read those and be aware of how those impact our treatment. Looking at educational resources, Peggy Papp, 1977, has a full case studies to which family therapists can refer. There are also all of the marriage and family journals, the Journal for Marriage and Family Therapy for Couples and Families, that you can also go through. Professional consultation, to go back to your professional organizations, LPCA, the Composite Board, the GAMFT or the AAMFT Board, seeking support from colleagues and supervisors, understanding that consultation is on your level, it's lateral, and supervision is one up from your level. It may be that you have all the degrees and licensure that anyone can have, and yet still have someone who has more information about a particular issue than you have. Common ethical concerns, confidentiality is the ethical duty to fulfill a contract or a promise that you will protect your clients from unauthorized disclosure. That does not apply to managed care when you're trying to get paid by the insurance company, or release of information to their doctor, their attorney, to their defects worker, to their probation officer, as long as it's appropriately formulated and signed, and that all of the 7 components, and there is a release of information in your documents as well, that they are all there and properly executed. And it doesn't apply to mandated responsibility, but if you're looking at privileged communication, despite the fact that your client may have signed a release of information, the privilege always belongs to the client. Whether or not it is broken based on release of information, mandated reporting status, judge's order from the bench, it is still the property of the client. Privileged communication is a client's legal right, guaranteed by the law, that confidences originating in a therapeutic relationship will be safeguarded. If it's broken through carelessness, then you're going to have an ethics review issue. Gender issue. Gender is not just a set of behaviors and expectations, but a principle of social organization that structures relationship and sometimes power relationships between men and women, between couples, and understanding the balance of power between partners, both financially and physically. The rules and roles played by members of different genders and how those are understood to work out within a family. The shift in the family's way of operating and how that affects the functionality of the family as a whole. Having sex with clients as a therapist is very simple. It should never occur. Once a client, always a client. It should never occur. You should not have sex with your clients. You should not have sex with family members of your clients. Barbara Streisand and Nick Nolte in The Prince of Tides, notwithstanding. That's a movie, and she had nothing to protect in her professional life as a counselor. Theoretical techniques. Staying with tried and true, research-based, evidence-driven techniques and not relying on things that are experimental, something you found on the internet. Term legal, it refers to the law, a body of rules recognized by a state or community as binding on its members. If you are a therapist, you cannot say that you are not responsible for understanding the legal code. Associate an attorney. Have someone have a consultation and explain the law around certain issues with you. This practice has an attorney and will seek consultation from that attorney if there are issues that are unclear. Types of law. Common law comes from tradition and usage. It's not always written down. It's more the way we've always done things, handed down from antiquity, and has roots in England. Statutory law, passed by legislative bodies, state and national legislators, signed by the governor or the president, valid only in the jurisdiction in which they are passed. That's why some states have laws against marital rape and other states do not. Administrative or regulatory law, passed by government agencies for specialty areas. Case law, precedent law, court decisions that have happened in the past that influence court decisions in the present and the future. Civil law, acts that are offensive to individuals but have not broken the law, that if civil law has created some type of damage. Criminal law is offensive to society in general. Laws have been broken that can result in incarceration. Legal situations that involve family therapist, an expert witness, to give testimony according to the Daubert Rules of Evidence, which is on the marriage and family exam. Probable causes of family dysfunction, recommendations for children and for families. Child custody evaluators to represent the children, more like a guardian ad litem. A mandated reporter in the situation of abuse. And court-ordered witnesses that are subpoenaed, ordered to appear before court, whereas the expert witness is considered to be more voluntary to help the judge make the proper decisions for those families. Legal issues in family therapy are usually in the background and can bring the question of malpractice, failure to fulfill the requisite standard of care. If you are judged, you will be judged according to other therapists in your area, your demographic area, with your level of experience and level of education. What would be usual, customary, and reasonable for another clinician. Advertising and record keeping. There are legal limits on what we can do to advertise our skills and services in order to protect our title and how we refer to ourselves. In record keeping, progress notes must be kept 7 to 10 years, legibility, protection of records, meeting the standards of your professional organization. Duty to warn, I would refer you back to TerraSoft, which you can find within the systems, and this goes back to mandated reporting and being sure that the person that might be at risk, if there's a clear danger to self, others, or the community, and an identified victim, we have a duty to warn as a clinical practice. Georgia is a duty to protect, one of 6 states, which is less robust. I think that is changing, but you're always mandated by the highest standards, and in this case, the higher standard is our ethics code. Family divorce and mediation, trying to help families come to an agreement on child custody and division of property and visitation prior to moving forward into a legal situation before a judge. Professional identification as a family therapist, they list several organizations for you on page 383. The one that we're affiliated with is the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, AAMFT. There's also the American Family Therapy Association, the American Psychological Association for Family Psychology, International Association of Marriage and Family Counselors, a National Council on Family Relations, Affiliated Counseling for Marriage Enrichment. All of those are smaller groups than the larger AAMFT. Looking at education of family therapists, the KCREP curriculum is listed for you on page 386. Human growth and development, cultural diversity, our foundations, the counseling relationships groups, career, appraisal and assessment, research and evaluation, ethics, which is professional orientation, theories, techniques, practicum, substance abuse, human sexuality, and electives. The COAFD, AAMFT approved curriculum is family child development, marriage and family systems or couples, dysfunctions in marriage, advanced child development, assessments in marriage and family, research methods, again, professional issues, marriage and family theory, practicum, sexual behavior, thesis, and electives. Looking at issues of professional identification. A lot of turf wars between the different professional organizations and not so much connection and consensus for what we should do. The easiest way is to affiliate with the AAMFT, which is a national program that will encompass the others. The summary table and the summary are 387 to 391, and that takes us into this chapter.